India, often referred to as the world's largest democracy, is poised for a pivotal transformation in the 21st century. This transformation is not merely about economic growth, but reflects a much deeper geopolitical, cultural, and technological ascension. A silent superpower, India is rapidly awakening, and the potential it holds for the future is immense. The question many scholars and strategists are now asking is, will the 22nd century be the Indian century? To explore this, we must delve into the factors driving India's rise, its current trajectory, and how it stands poised to lead the global order. Demographic dividend, the power of a young population. One of India's most significant advantages in the 21st century is its population structure. India's population is expected to surpass China's by 2024, making it the most populous country on Earth. What distinguishes India, however, is the youth of its population. The median age in India is around 28 years, compared to 38 years in China and 48 years in Japan. By 2050, nearly a quarter of the world's workforce will be Indian. The demographic dividend refers to the economic boost that can result from a high proportion of working-age individuals relative to dependents, both young and elderly. India stands at the cusp of this demographic dividend, with its young, tech-savvy, and ambitious population. If harnessed correctly through proper education, skilling, and job creation, this youth bulge can catapult India's economic growth to unprecedented heights. Moreover, as populations in the West and East Asia age, India's young population will serve as a critical global workforce, contributing to sectors such as technology, medicine, manufacturing, and research. Economic growth and the digital revolution. India's economy has shown remarkable resilience and growth in recent decades. It is currently the world's fifth largest economy by nominal GDP and third largest by purchasing power parity. With a growth rate hovering between 6 to 8% per annum, India's economy is on course to become a $5 trillion economy by the mid-2020s and potentially reach $10 trillion by 2035. This growth is being fueled by several key factors. Technological innovation. India is quickly becoming a global hub for technology. Its IT sector is world-renowned, and cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Pune are centers of innovation. With millions of engineers graduating each year, India has a massive pool of talent driving the digital revolution. Digital infrastructure. The Indian government has been investing heavily in building a robust digital infrastructure. Initiatives like Digital India, Aadhaar, the world's largest biometric identification system, and the proliferation of affordable internet services through companies like Reliance Jio are revolutionizing governance, financial inclusion, and e-commerce. India has seen an exponential rise in digital payments, online services, and tech startups, positioning itself as a leader in the global digital economy. Manufacturing and industry. The government's Make in India initiative is designed to transform India into a global manufacturing hub, focusing on sectors such as electronics, textiles, automobiles, and defense production. With rising wages in China, India is becoming an attractive alternative for companies looking to diversify their manufacturing bases. Education, innovation, and skill development. India's capacity to dominate the 21st century hinges on its ability to produce an educated and skilled workforce. Though challenges remain in its education sector, significant strides have been made in expanding access to education, especially through technological platforms. Higher education and research. India is home to several world-class institutions such as the Indian Institutes of Technology, the Indian Institutes of Management, and the Indian Institute of Science. These institutions are producing some of the brightest minds in engineering, science, and business. Indian origin professionals are already leading major global corporations like Google, Microsoft, and IBM, reflecting the potential of Indian talent on the world stage. Research and development. India's investments in research and development are steadily growing, particularly in areas like space exploration, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, and artificial intelligence. The Indian Space Research Organization has garnered international acclaim for its cost-effective and successful space missions, including the Mars Orbiter mission and the Chandrayaan lunar mission. As space exploration becomes more crucial, India will increasingly be recognized as a key player in global research and development efforts. Geopolitically, India occupies a critical position on the world stage. Its strategic location between the energy-rich Middle East and the rapidly growing economies of Southeast Asia places it at the heart of global trade routes. India has always championed non-alignment and strategic autonomy in its foreign policy. In recent years, it has built strong diplomatic relationships with major powers like the United States, Russia, Japan, and the European Union, while maintaining its leadership role in forums like the BRICS, G20, and the Commonwealth. India's recent leadership in advocating for a multipolar world, one where no single country dominates, resonates with many nations that seek a balance against US or Chinese hegemony. India has the third largest military in the world and is one of the few nations with nuclear capabilities. The nation has also rapidly modernized its military infrastructure with significant investments in air, land, and naval capabilities. The Make in India campaign has extended into defense production, with a focus on indigenizing arms manufacturing and reducing dependence on foreign suppliers. India is also positioning itself as the leader of the Global South, a term that refers to the developing nations of the world. It is taking up critical issues such as climate change, equitable access to vaccines, and fair trade practices. India's engagement in organizations like the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue with the United States, Japan, and Australia underscores its strategic importance in maintaining a balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region, particularly in countering China's growing influence. In addition to its hard power, India's rise is also marked by its growing soft power, its ability to influence global culture, thought, and values. Indian cinema is a global phenomenon. Bollywood, the world's largest film industry by output, has a massive following not just in South Asia, but also in Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Europe and North America. Its music, dance, and storytelling traditions resonate globally, contributing to India's cultural influence. India is the birthplace of several of the world's major religions, including Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Sikhism. In recent years, practices like yoga and meditation, rooted in ancient Indian traditions, have gained widespread popularity around the world, offering India a unique form of soft power. The Indian diaspora, numbering over 30 million people, is one of the most influential and successful immigrant communities globally. Indian origin leaders, scientists, academics, and entrepreneurs have made significant contributions to global business, politics, and culture. Countries like the United States, Canada, and the UK benefit from their skills, and this diaspora strengthens India's global influence. Despite its many advantages, India faces significant challenges that could hinder its rise. Addressing these will be crucial if India is to claim the 22nd century. India has made significant strides in reducing poverty, but inequality remains a pressing issue. The wealth gap between the richest and poorest citizens is stark, and uneven development across states further complicates efforts to achieve equitable growth. Though India has made strides in improving its infrastructure, particularly in urban areas, it still lags behind in rural infrastructure, public transportation, and clean energy access. Continued investments in roads, railways, ports, and energy infrastructure will be necessary to sustain long-term growth. India is one of the world's most vulnerable countries to climate change. Rising temperatures, erratic rainfall, and increasing pollution levels threaten to undermine its agricultural sector and exacerbate water scarcity issues. India's democratic system is both a strength and a challenge. While its federal structure allows for local governance, the country's regional and ethnic diversity sometimes leads to political fragmentation and social unrest. Balancing national cohesion with regional autonomy will be critical moving forward. India's potential to dominate the 21st century and beyond is real, but it is far from guaranteed. The country's youth, economic dynamism, technological prowess, and geopolitical positioning provide a solid foundation for future leadership. If India successfully addresses its challenges by continuing to reform its economy, invest in education and infrastructure, and enhance its soft power and diplomatic influence, it could emerge as the global superpower of the 22nd century. The world may soon witness an era where India leads not just in terms of population or economy, but as a beacon of innovation, cultural exchange, and geopolitical leadership. The 22nd century may indeed belong to India, marking the full awakening of this silent superpower. As we look towards the 22nd century and India's trajectory, it's essential to recognize the challenges that remain and how the nation is poised to address them. India's ascendancy is not an isolated process, but one shaped by the global environment, its relationships with other rising powers, and the evolving geopolitical landscape. Several critical areas will determine whether India can transform its potential into global leadership. Let's explore these areas in more depth. India's future as a global leader hinges largely on its ability to innovate and lead in key sectors such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, green technologies, and space exploration. The 21st century is increasingly being defined by technological advancements, and nations that can lead in these areas will control future global narratives and economies. Artificial intelligence and machine learning. India has already made significant investments in AI and machine learning. The nation's booming IT sector is shifting from service-oriented roles to becoming hubs for cutting-edge innovation. Major tech companies have set up AI research hubs in India, recognizing the potential of its talent pool. India has the potential to leverage AI not just for business purposes, but also for social good, improving healthcare delivery, optimizing urban planning, and even enhancing agricultural productivity. Biotechnology and pharmaceuticals. India is already known as the pharmacy of the world for its large-scale production of generic medicines. With an increasing focus on biotechnology, India is also emerging as a leader in vaccines and biopharmaceuticals. The COVID-19 pandemic demonstrated India's capacity to contribute to global health through the mass production and distribution of affordable vaccines. In the future, India is well positioned to lead in medical research, from genome sequencing to biotech solutions for global health challenges. Green technologies. With the effects of climate change becoming more severe, India has recognized the need for leadership in renewable energy. India's commitment to green energy has led to ambitious targets for solar and wind energy. Initiatives like the International Solar Alliance, co-founded by India, aim to promote solar energy use globally, positioning India at the forefront of the renewable energy revolution. As the world transitions away from fossil fuels, India's leadership in this domain could define the future of global energy markets. Space exploration. India's space program, led by the Indian Space Research Organization, is one of the most cost-effective and successful in the world. ISRO's Mars orbiter mission, Mangalyaan, demonstrated India's ability to conduct interplanetary exploration at a fraction of the cost of other space agencies. Future missions, including human spaceflight programs and potential missions to Mars, will solidify India's place in space exploration. India's space ambitions are not just symbolic, they have practical implications, including advancements in satellite technology for communication, weather forecasting, and agriculture. To cement its role as a global superpower, India will need to continue enhancing its diplomatic engagements and strategic alliances. Its unique position in the world allows it to act as a bridge between the East and the West, as well as between developed and developing nations. India and the United States. India's relationship with the United States has transformed significantly over the past few decades. While the two countries share democratic values, their growing defense cooperation and economic ties are pivotal for global security and trade. The India-US relationship is vital for maintaining a balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region, particularly in countering China's influence. Furthermore, The United States sees India as a key player in future global governance, making collaboration in areas such as climate change, technology, and defense crucial. India and China. India's relationship with China will be one of the defining geopolitical dynamics of the 21st century. As both nations rise, they will continue to compete for influence in Asia and beyond. Border disputes and economic competition will likely persist, but the two nations are also economically interdependent, and managing this complex relationship will be critical for regional stability. While China currently has a larger economy and military, India's democratic system and global alliances provide it with unique strengths that could shape the regional balance in the future. The Quad and Indo-Pacific Strategy. India's involvement in the Quad alliance, comprising India, the United States, Japan, and Australia, reflects its strategic positioning in the Indo-Pacific. This partnership is designed to ensure a free and open Indo-Pacific, countering China's aggressive territorial claims in the South China Sea and beyond. As India's maritime capabilities grow, it will play a more significant role in securing sea lanes that are vital for global trade. Leadership in multilateral institutions. India has consistently sought reform in global institutions such as the United Nations Security Council. With its growing global clout, India will likely push for a permanent seat at the UNSC, reflecting its role as a global power. Additionally, India's active participation in organizations such as the World Trade Organization, World Health Organization, and G20 highlights its commitment to a rules-based international order. India's cultural influence, often referred to as soft power, plays a critical role in its global rise. Soft power allows India to shape global perceptions and attract goodwill without relying on coercion or military force. The nation's rich cultural heritage, values, and global diaspora are instrumental in this regard. Bollywood and global cinema. The reach of Bollywood is vast, with films watched not just in South Asia, but also in Africa, the Middle East, and Western countries. Indian actors and musicians are becoming global icons, and Bollywood films often blend Indian values with universal themes, making them accessible to international audiences. In addition to Bollywood, India's regional film industries, such as Tollywood, Collywood, and Mollywood, are also gaining international recognition, contributing to India's cultural exports. Indian cuisine. Indian cuisine has become ubiquitous in many parts of the world. From street food stalls in London to fine dining restaurants in New York, Indian food's global appeal showcases the spread of Indian culture. Indian spices, cooking techniques, and flavors are increasingly influencing global gastronomy, yoga, and holistic health. Perhaps one of India's most significant contributions to global culture is yoga and Ayurveda. As wellness becomes a multi-billion-dollar industry, India's ancient systems of health and wellness are being embraced worldwide. Yoga has become a daily practice for millions of people across the globe, positioning India as a leader in the wellness movement. Similarly, Ayurveda, an ancient system of natural medicine, is being incorporated into modern health practices, further spreading India's influence. Diaspora and global influence. The Indian diaspora, with more than 30 million people, is one of the most dynamic in the world. From CEOs of global tech giants like Sundar Pichai of Google and Satya Nadella of Microsoft to leading academics, scientists, and politicians, the Indian diaspora is playing an influential role in shaping global business and politics. The diaspora's contribution extends beyond economics. They serve as cultural ambassadors, sharing Indian values, traditions, and innovations with their host countries. India's rise as a global superpower in the 21st and 22nd centuries is not inevitable, but the foundations are being laid. India is awakening as a silent superpower driven by its demographic strength, economic growth, technological innovation, and soft power. However, it must continue to address significant internal challenges like inequality, political fragmentation, and environmental degradation to fully realize its potential. The next few decades will be critical for India as it balances its regional ambitions with its global responsibilities. As the world moves towards a multipolar order, India's ability to navigate this complex landscape will define its future role. If it can successfully leverage its advantages, the 22nd century may indeed be remembered as the Indian century, a period where India leads the world not just in economic and military terms, but also in cultural, technological, and diplomatic influence.